Jonathan Heit, co-founder and global CEO of Allison, talks to host Doug Simon on PR's Top Pros Talk.
Jonathan, first off, congratulations on your new role as Global CEO.
Thanks, Doug. Appreciate it.
Yeah. So what should communicators be thinking of when they're trying to scale a business?
It's a great question. And I think when the fact of the matter is while you're scaling the business, you're not really thinking about scaling the business, right? I mean, it's making sure that your people and your clients have the resources they need to be most successful. And scaling, much like revenue, ultimately becomes a bit of a trailing indicator, right? That's something Scott Allison has always said, and I've kind of agreed with that. But you really have to have the infrastructure in place. I think as Allison has grown historically, whether that's into new areas, product rollouts, or new geographies, it's really making sure that you had the right people in place to manage that growth and that there was client demand for the growth. So what we do is we spend a lot of time looking at what is it that our clients are interested in and what is it that we should invest in. So as we've grown and we've taken on new operations, new capabilities, and have gotten new partners across whether that's investors in the business or ultimately a new holding company like with Stagwell, more opportunities with which to scale. But I would say, rather than thinking about how do you scale is how are we prepared for the eventual scaling, and how do you make sure you have the right people in place and you don't get too far out ahead of the business as well, so that you're there to maximize that opportunity, but folks don't feel overwhelmed, and you've got, again, that right balance, I'd say.
One of the things you've done well at Allison is apply technology in a meaningful way. Any tips and guidance in that area? Because that's also important.
Sure. Historically, we've really learned a lot from our clients. We were early on in digital and social media because of a lot of our clients. We had YouTube in its earliest days. You go all the way back to launching MySpace. So understanding how that worked for clients. And that's really as true today with Allison Advanced and our AI capabilities that we've rolled out. But what you also really need to do is hire smart people and stay out of their way, right? It's understanding that there's good people in place that know how these technologies work and know how we can apply them for clients. With AI in particular and social, way back when, it was also making sure you have the right policies and guardrails and guidelines in place. And that's more important than ever too. So we work really closely with Stagwell and the Stagwell Marketing Cloud team, along with our own performance and intelligence team, to really make sure that, what we're doing doesn't put any of our client data at risk, and really understands, the current landscape of what client demand is really pushing us to put out into the marketplace. But really being out in front of that and understanding and having teams and clients that are open to experimentation has, I think, been, our greatest asset on that front.
We've seen two parts to AI. One is, as you've been talking about, how PR practitioners, industry are actually utilizing it to make the work better. And the other part is promoting clients who actually have AI integrated into their products or services. We've actually been getting a lot of more demand and station interest in covering stories about brands using AI. Do you have any insights into how to do communications around that when it's the client's use of AI?
When you talk about promoting it, again, I think it's having a team that truly understands the landscape, and we're understanding it in the broader context of all integrated marketing and not just public relations, so that we're really looking at it from every angle. Where does what this client rolling out, where does it fit in that overall landscape, and is this truly an innovation, or is this a bit more of a me too? So being able to counsel clients on that. But we actually have taken it a step further. We've really expanded our advisory services capability. So we are integrated into certain client engagements, and I don't necessarily want to talk about them by name,
of course,
because some of the work is really integral to their business prospects, but helping them delineate, okay, which products should we promote more heavily? Which products should we potentially bring to market sooner? And really involved on that level, and also on training, right? Again, I think what matters most is, are your people trained to roll this product out or to implement this product to help drive efficiencies, effectiveness, and scale.
A key part of our industry has always been the battle to tie the communication success and effect to the business goals and business success. How is that moving forward? What's some of the state-of-the-art things you're practicing in that area?
Yeah, there's never been a better time for communications and integrated marketing professionals to be able to tie their success and their results back to business because of the measurability of the work that we do. I think that's essential to every client engagement that we have. So for us, that's been a real blessing because we've been saying that for 20 plus years. It's not about communication success. It's never about vanity metrics. It's got to be about moving the business forward. So the more we're able to do that, and the better measurement tools that we have, and that's where we've really invested to look at brand reputation. We have this new product called Brandgeist IQ, which measures where brands puts a quantification against where brands' efforts put them in the cultural zeitgeist. So to be able to quantify some of that and then see how that has moved their business forward. But it really is incumbent onto the client as well to open up certain metrics to you. So if we can look at their sales figures and we can understand, okay, around these implementations, we've seen an increase in sales around certain products or certain initiatives, that's when it's best, when you have that partnership with the client and they also see the value. That's got to be coming from the C-suite. The executive team at the client has to understand that the tie to communications and the tie to marketing is going to drive sales and open up the measurement, allow us to plug into some of those metrics so that our dashboards can include that and go, again, beyond some of the vanity metrics that our industry has had to rely on for so long.
Now that there's the hybrid, the mix, the in-office, remote, what are you seeing as some of the best practices for onboarding talent to make sure they're able to continue the push and continue the growth of your organization?
We really revamped our onboarding just before COVID and also since have added a lot of features to that. I think you're absolutely right. The hybrid environment plays such a critical role in that. So maximizing communication across the manager and the employee, I think, is something that's so important. But one of the real things that I think has had the greatest impact is cohort-based onboarding. So we might hire throughout the year, throughout the first part of the year, and we'll bunch or batch 3, 4, 5, 10 new hires together, put them into a cohort-based training, onboarding. So we might wait, you might be already working for a month or two before you get really the full formal onboarding. Obviously, you'll talk to HR and you'll get your paperwork done. But if you can get that cohort-based onboarding, then you've got folks who've gone through something together, and throughout their life cycle at the organization, they have this touch point of having gone through some of these experiences together. So we do some of that in person. We've actually got also, it's more extended past the onboarding, but training is such a critical part of that, training and upskilling. We have Allison University Live going on right now here in New York. So we've got 30 of our AE and AC level staffers all together in a room sharing their experiences. And that's the first time we've done that in 5 years since COVID, really stopped a lot of the travel. So we're really glad to be getting that back on board. And some of these folks who've been onboarded together have found that to be really powerful. One other thing that we're doing is our apprenticeship. So in the summer, we'll bring in 11 new apprentices into Allison. They will start together. They will have weekly sessions, different types of trainings that they'll do together. And then ideally, all 11 of them will have jobs waiting for them at the end of the 8-week program. And I think that, again, is another version of that cohort-based onboarding that we have found so effective. But again, it's a living, breathing entity, because the way you communicate in a hybrid environment and the way you make sure that you're checking in with employees and constantly getting them to connect in real ways. We do 2+ here at Allison in the US. So it's 2 days in the office. And then the third is that plus. It's get out into the real world. So if you have a client meeting, that doesn't count as your in-office day. It counts as your plus day. And as much as you can be in the real world, go meet with a client, go meet with a colleague for a coffee, sit down, get up from your desk in your bedroom or whatever the case may be, and meet with folks or meet with a member of the media or an influencer. And we found people really can can vibe on that. And I think, again, with Allison U happening today, we've got almost a full office here in One World Trade. And I think, again, I'm a little off the topic of onboarding, but it is that person to person experience that I think has been such a game changer, and really something folks are craving to get back to.
Keeping your talented staff together. We were talking earlier, we average over 9 years of tenure for our team, and key part of our success. Any last thoughts? You touched on some about keeping the team together and how important that is.
Retention is something we think about all the time. We've always prided ourselves on our culture. We just revamped our entire brand, and as part of that, also internally revamped our core values. They're basically the same, but they're designed for the present. One of the things that we have really invested in heavily is our EAGs. So there are our employee allyship groups. So it's really beyond just employee resource groups, which I think are important. But we have a variety of groups that are employee-led that actually are, we compensate the leaders of each of these EAGs, and they really gravitate around a certain topic or a certain community-based aspect of what they share. So you think about our faith group, our pride group, and one that came up more recently was our resilience group. So you see a lot of literature about the stigma for whether it's just internalized or actual that people feel around revealing the fact that they have a major illness and they're going to have to be out of the workplace. So our resilience team is focused on that. It was started by an employee who was dealing with a major life event. And we believe that when you give people the space to do that within the workday and to really spend time with each other, discussing things that are outside of that, again, in a hybrid environment, that is another element that really leads to retention. We've also always been a very entrepreneurial environment. Even within the holding company model, we believe in frictionless transfer, allowing folks to really chase their passions. And there's example after example of folks who have built something that really stands out to this day. So Sparkworks, which is our digital sandbox, basically, where we allow folks to come to us with new ideas. They may be driven by AI. They may be a day where we're bringing together thought leadership around a specific topic. Say the leader of our Africa group is put something like that together, so you could bring experts together. So it might be a product, it might be a service, it might be a bit of IP or a panel session, and allowing folks to chase that and really create these. It benefits everyone, right? It gives them an opportunity to do something that is beyond just their client work. It grows the agency as well, and it grows their career. So we have found if you give folks the ability to have that agency, so to speak, right, for themselves, that has really helped with retention. And that's something we've always prided ourselves on as well. We're not quite at the 9.5-year average as your team is, but for the agency environment, we're well ahead of the average, and we really pride ourselves on that.
Clearly from this discussion, you're well ahead of the average across many different measurements. Thanks so much for spending your time with us.
Thanks, Doug. Appreciate it.